What if the most breathtaking places on Earth looked almost impossible to be real? What if some landscapes felt like they were taken from another planet? Painted by fire, shaped by ice, and perfected by time. Where rivers glow like liquid glass. Where mountains rise like stone sculptures, and where clouds drift through valleys like living oceans. Landscapes shaped by volcanoes and glaciers. Water so clear it mirrors the sky. Peaks so high they disappear into the heavens. These are not fantasy worlds. They are not digital creations. They are not scenes from movies. They are real places, scattered across our planet. Hidden in deserts, jungles, oceans, and mountains. Places that remind us how powerful, creative, and unpredictable nature can be. And today, we journey across the most beautiful corners of Earth. Places so extraordinary. They challenge what we believe is possible and redefine what true beauty really means. Torres del Paine National Park, Chile. In the heart of Patagonia, jagged granite towers rise dramatically into the sky, forming one of the most iconic landscapes in South America. Torres del Paine feels wild and untouched, where glaciers carve valleys and turquoise lakes reflect snow-capped peaks. The weather changes quickly here. Fierce winds sweep across open plains. Clouds roll over mountains within minutes. Yet that unpredictability makes every moment magical. Herds of guanacos roam freely, and condors glide overhead. Massive glaciers slowly crack and shift in the distance. At sunrise, the towers glow in shades of orange and gold, transforming the entire park into a living painting. Torres del Paine is not just a destination, it is raw wilderness shaped by time and patience. Palawan, Philippines. Often called the last frontier of the Philippines, Palawan is a paradise of limestone cliffs, emerald lagoons, and hidden beaches. El Nido and Coron reveal dramatic rock formations rising vertically from crystal-clear waters. Beneath the surface, coral reefs teem with life in brilliant color. Secret lagoons are accessible only through narrow openings in stone walls. Kayaking through these spaces feels like entering another world. Sunsets paint the sky in warm gold and pink, reflecting perfectly across calm seas. Palawan feels untouched, as if nature carefully protected it from time itself. Angkor Wat, Cambodia. Rising from the jungles of Cambodia, Angkor Wat stands as one of the greatest architectural achievements in human history. Built in the 12th century, its towers resemble lotus buds reaching toward the sky. Detailed carvings cover the stone walls, telling stories of gods and ancient civilizations. At sunrise, the temple reflects perfectly in surrounding pools, creating one of the most iconic views in the world. Though centuries have passed, the structure remains powerful and serene. Angkor Wat is where history, spirituality, and art merge into timeless beauty. Plitvice Lakes National Park, Croatia. Plitvice Lakes National Park is a masterpiece of water and forest. 16 terraced lakes connect through cascading waterfalls, each one glowing in shades of blue and green. Wooden walkways wind gently across the water, allowing visitors to walk directly above flowing streams. The colors constantly change depending on light, minerals, and seasons. In autumn, golden leaves surround turquoise pools. In winter, waterfalls freeze into delicate sculptures of ice. Plitvice feels peaceful, like a natural sanctuary where water quietly shapes the land. Rainforests, Iceland. On Iceland's southern coast lies a beach unlike any other. Rainforests' black volcanic sand contrasts sharply with powerful Atlantic waves. Basalt columns rise like natural cathedrals from the shoreline, shaped by cooling lava thousands of years ago. Towering sea stacks stand offshore, wrapped in local legend. Storm clouds often gather above, adding drama to an already powerful landscape. Rainforests is proof that even volcanic destruction can create extraordinary beauty. Big Sur, USA. Stretching along California's Pacific Coast Highway, Big Sur combines cliffs, forests, and ocean into one breathtaking panorama. Highway curves follow rugged coastline where waves crash against rocky shores. Redwood trees rise tall and ancient inland, while bridges span deep coastal canyons. Mist from the ocean drifts across hills at sunrise, creating a cinematic atmosphere. Big Sur is not loud or dramatic, it is quietly overwhelming. Santorini, Greece. High above the deep blue waters of the Aegean Sea, Santorini rests on the edge of a massive volcanic crater, shaped by ancient eruptions that transform the island forever. Whitewashed houses cascade down steep cliffs, glowing under golden sunlight. Blue-domed churches rise above narrow pathways, creating one of the most recognizable skylines in the world. At sunset, the sky ignites in shades of orange, purple, and red, reflecting across the sea. Waves crash far below, reminding visitors of the powerful forces that formed this place. Despite its popularity, Santorini still feels timeless. Here, beauty is born from destruction, and every evening feels like a celebration of light and color. Cenotes of the Yucatan, Mexico. Hidden beneath the jungles of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula lies a secret world of crystal-clear freshwater caves known as cenotes. These natural sinkholes were formed when limestone collapsed, revealing underground rivers. Sunlight pours through openings in the rock, illuminating turquoise waters below. Stalactites hang from cave ceilings like frozen waterfalls. For the ancient Maya, cenotes were sacred gateways to the underworld. Today, swimmers and divers explore their quiet depths. Floating in a cenote feels like drifting through liquid glass. It is a place where silence, light, and water exist in perfect balance. Cappadocia, Turkey. In central Turkey, Cappadocia looks like a landscape from another planet. Wind and erosion have sculpted soft volcanic rock into towers, cones, and valleys called fairy chimneys. Homes and churches were carved directly into stone cliffs thousands of years ago. Underground cities once sheltered entire communities. At sunrise, hundreds of hot air balloons rise into the sky, drifting silently above the valleys. From above, the terrain looks like a living sculpture. From below, it feels ancient and mysterious. Cappadocia is where nature and human history merge into one unforgettable landscape. Whitehaven Beach, Australia. Along Australia's Whitsunday Islands lies Whitehaven Beach, famous for its pure white silica sand and clear turquoise water. The sand is so fine it never becomes hot, even under intense sun. From above, swirling patterns of blue and white form along the shoreline, shaped by tides and currents. The surrounding waters are protected, allowing coral reefs and marine life to thrive. There are no hotels, no cities, and no permanent buildings here. Only wind, waves, and endless horizon. Whitehaven Beach feels untouched, like a fragment of paradise preserved by time. Faroe Islands, Denmark. Rising from the stormy North Atlantic, the Faroe Islands are a dramatic network of cliffs, waterfalls, and green hills shaped by wind and sea. Waterfalls plunge directly into the ocean. Sheep roam freely across steep slopes. Clouds race low over rugged peaks. Weather changes constantly. Sunshine can become mist within minutes. Yet this unpredictability adds to the island's charm. Small villages cling to coastlines, connected by tunnels carved through mountains. The Faroe Islands feel remote, powerful, and deeply alive. Ha Long Bay, Vietnam. In northern Vietnam, Ha Long Bay stretches across calm emerald waters filled with thousands of towering limestone islands. Each formation rises steeply from the sea, covered in jungle vegetation. Hidden caves and lagoons lie within many of them. Traditional boats glide slowly between stone pillars, creating a peaceful rhythm across the bay. Mist often drifts between the islands at dawn, giving the entire landscape a dreamlike quality. Ha Long Bay feels endless, like a natural maze shaped by water and time. Fiordland National Park, New Zealand. On the southwest coast of New Zealand lies Fiordland National Park, a region carved by massive glaciers over millions of years. Deep fjords slice into towering mountains, while waterfalls pour endlessly down vertical cliffs. Rain falls frequently here, feeding lush rainforests that cling to steep slopes. Mist drifts across valleys, creating a mysterious atmosphere that feels almost prehistoric. Milford Sound and Doubtful Sound reflect snow-capped peaks in dark, glassy water. Dolphins, seals, and penguins thrive in these cold seas. Fiordland feels untouched by time. It is a place where silence speaks louder than words, and where nature remains in complete control. Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka. Nestled in Sri Lanka's central highlands, Ella is surrounded by rolling tea plantations, cloud-covered mountains, and deep green valleys. Trains pass slowly through misty hills, offering some of the most scenic railway views in the world. Waterfalls flow gently through forests, and narrow trails lead to breathtaking viewpoints. At sunrise, clouds drift below mountain peaks, creating the illusion of floating islands. Farmers work quietly among endless rows of tea bushes. Ella feels peaceful and alive at the same time. It is a place where slow living and natural beauty blend perfectly. Napali Coast, USA. Along the island of Kauai in Hawaii stretches the dramatic Napali Coast, a wild shoreline of towering green cliffs rising directly from the Pacific Ocean. These mountains were shaped by volcanic activity and erosion over millions of years. Sharp ridges and deep valleys create a landscape that seems impossible to climb. Many areas are accessible only by boat, helicopter, or challenging hiking trails. Waves crash violently against rock walls below. Hidden beaches and waterfalls lie deep within the valleys, protected from crowds. Nepali is a place of raw beauty, where land and ocean collide in spectacular fashion. Valle de la Luna, Chile. In Chile's Atacama Desert lies Valle de la Luna, or Valley of the Moon, a landscape that looks more like Mars than Earth. Salt flats, sand dunes, and jagged rock formations stretch across a dry, wind-shaped plain. Almost no rain falls here, making it one of the driest places on Earth. Over centuries, wind carved the rocks into strange sculptures. Crystals of salt sparkle under the sun. At sunset, the valley glows in red, gold, and purple tones, transforming into a surreal painting. Valle de la Luna shows how beauty can exist even in extreme emptiness. Raja Ampat, Indonesia. Hidden in eastern Indonesia, Raja Ampat is considered one of the richest marine ecosystems on Earth. Thousands of small jungle-covered islands rise from clear turquoise seas. Beneath the surface lies a world of coral reefs filled with vibrant fish, turtles, and manta rays. Scientists consider this region the heart of global marine biodiversity. Above water, limestone cliffs, hidden lagoons, and white sand beaches create a tropical paradise. Villages live in harmony with the sea, relying on fishing and conservation. Raja Ampat is a reminder that the ocean still holds wonders beyond imagination. Scottish Highlands, Scotland. Stretching across northern Scotland, the Scottish Highlands are a land of misty mountains, deep lakes, and endless open valleys. Ancient castles stand on rocky hills, overlooking vast landscapes shaped by glaciers and storms. Lochs reflect dark clouds and sudden sunlight. Weather changes rapidly. Sunshine can become rain within minutes, giving the region a constantly shifting mood. Deer roam freely across moorlands, and eagles soar above rugged peaks. The Highlands feel timeless and powerful, carrying stories of history, legend, and survival in every valley. Greenland, land of ice and silence. Greenland is a world shaped by ice, where massive glaciers flow slowly toward the sea, and towering icebergs drift across deep blue waters. Covering most of the island is the second largest ice sheet on Earth, holding enough frozen water to reshape global coastlines if it melts. Small coastal towns sit between mountains and fjords, surrounded by endless white landscapes. In winter, darkness lasts for months. In summer, the sun barely sets. Northern lights dance across the sky, while whales and seals move silently through icy fjords. Greenland feels untouched and powerful, reminding visitors that nature here operates on a scale far beyond human control. Meteora, monasteries in the sky. In central Greece, giant stone pillars rise suddenly from flat valleys, topped by ancient monasteries that seem to float in the air. This is Meteora, one of the most dramatic spiritual landscapes in the world. Built by monks seeking isolation, the monasteries were once accessible only by rope ladders and baskets. Today, stairways connect them, but the sense of mystery remains. Sunlight paints the cliffs in warm gold at dawn and deep orange at sunset. Clouds often wrap around the rock towers, creating an illusion of floating islands. Meteora is where faith, history, and geology merge into breathtaking harmony. Denali National Park, Wilderness of Giants. In the heart of Alaska lies Denali National Park, home to North America's tallest mountain and vast, untamed wilderness. Snow-covered peaks rise above tundra plains, where wildlife roams freely. Grizzly bears, wolves, moose, and caribou dominate the landscape. Roads are limited, preserving the park's wild character. Weather changes rapidly. Clear skies can become snowstorms within hours. Temperatures drop suddenly, even in summer. Denali feels raw and powerful. It is one of the last places where humans are visitors in an untouched kingdom of nature. Lençóis Maranhenses, desert of water. In northeastern Brazil lies one of the world's most unusual landscapes, Lençóis Maranhenses. Endless white sand dunes stretch to the horizon, but during the rainy season, blue and green lagoons appear between them. These temporary pools form naturally, creating a desert filled with water. Fish somehow survive in underground channels and emerge when the lagoons return. From above, the landscape looks like a living painting of waves and mirrors. Walking here feels like stepping into a dream where desert and ocean combine into one surreal environment. Pitons St. Lucia, Twin Peaks of Paradise. On the Caribbean island of St. Lucia rise two volcanic mountains known as the Pitons. These steep green peaks rise sharply from the sea, dominating the island's coastline. Formed by ancient volcanic activity, they are covered in rainforest and surrounded by coral reefs. Hiking trails lead through dense vegetation to panoramic viewpoints. From the water, the pitons appear like guardians watching over the island. Sunset reflects warm colors across their slopes, blending ocean and mountain into one breathtaking scene. The pitons represent the perfect balance of tropical beauty and geological power. Victoria Falls, the smoke that thunders. On the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe lies Victoria Falls, one of the largest and most powerful waterfalls on Earth. Locally known as the smoke that thunders, it stretches more than a kilometer wide. Millions of liters of water crash into a deep gorge every minute, sending mist hundreds of meters into the air. Rainbows often form in the spray. During flood season, the falls become a roaring wall of white water. In dry season, hidden rock formations emerge. The sound can be heard kilometers away, and the ground vibrates with power. Victoria Falls is not just seen, it is felt. Mont Saint-Michel, island between land and sea. Off the coast of Normandy rises Mont Saint-Michel, a medieval island crowned by a towering abbey. Twice each day, powerful tides transform this site from a land-connected village into a floating island. When the sea rushes in, roads disappear beneath water. At low tide, vast sandflats stretch toward the horizon. This constant transformation gives Mont Saint-Michel its magical quality. Narrow stone streets spiral upward toward the abbey, revealing panoramic views of sky and ocean. At night, golden lights reflect across the water, creating a dreamlike atmosphere. Mont Saint-Michel is where history, architecture, and nature exist in perfect balance. Bora Bora, Lagoon of Dreams. Surrounded by turquoise waters and coral reefs, Bora Bora is one of the most famous tropical islands in the world. At its center rises Mount Otamanu, a volcanic peak covered in lush vegetation. Overwater bungalows float above crystal-clear lagoons where colorful fish glide beneath glass floors. Gentle waves and warm breezes create constant calm. Sunsets turn the sky into shades of pink and gold, reflecting across peaceful waters. Though luxurious, Bora Bora remains deeply connected to nature, offering a rare harmony between comfort and untouched beauty. Antelope Canyon, Canyon of Light. Hidden in Arizona's desert lies Antelope Canyon, a narrow slot canyon carved by flash floods over thousands of years. Smooth sandstone walls twist and curve like flowing fabric. When sunlight enters through narrow openings, beams of light illuminate the canyon floor. Colors shift constantly. from deep red to glowing orange and soft purple depending on the time of day. Despite its fragile beauty, Antelope Canyon remains powerful, shaped by water that still floods without warning. It is a place where light becomes art. Machu Picchu, city above the clouds. High in Peru's Andes Mountains sits Machu Picchu, an ancient Inca city hidden among mist-covered peaks. Stone temples, terraces, and pathways were built without mortar, yet remain perfectly aligned after centuries. The surrounding mountains create a natural fortress, protecting the site from invaders and isolation. Morning fog often rolls through the ruins, revealing structures slowly, as if the city is awakening. Machu Picchu feels suspended between earth and sky, history and mystery. Monteverde Cloud Forest, forest in the sky. In Costa Rica's highlands lies Monteverde Cloud Forest, where mist drifts constantly through towering trees. Moisture from clouds feeds moss, orchids, and ferns that blanket every surface. Hanging bridges allow visitors to walk through treetops. Thousands of plant and animal species thrive here, many found nowhere else. Birds like the resplendent quetzal flash bright colors through the fog. Monteverde is a living ecosystem suspended between earth and sky. Picos de Europa, mountains of stone and cloud. Rising sharply from northern Spain, the Picos de Europa form dramatic limestone peaks surrounded by deep valleys and green pastures. Shepherds have guided livestock through these mountains for centuries. Ancient trails still connect remote villages. Snow caps peaks in winter, while wildflowers bloom in summer. Clouds often drift between cliffs, creating constantly changing scenery. Picos de Europa is where tradition and wilderness meet in timeless harmony. Cliffs of Moher, edge of the Atlantic. Rising more than 200 meters above the Atlantic Ocean, the cliffs of Moher stretch along Ireland's western coast like a giant stone wall facing endless waves. Powerful winds race across the cliffs, carrying sea spray high into the air. Below, waves crash against black rock with constant force, shaping the coastline year after year. On clear days, distant islands appear on the horizon. During storms, mist and clouds wrap the cliffs in mystery. Seabirds circle the edges, nesting in narrow crevices. Standing here feels like standing at the edge of the world, where land ends and infinity begins. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, mountains in the clouds. In central China, Zhangjiajie National Forest is famous for its towering sandstone pillars, rising like stone skyscrapers from misty valleys. These vertical peaks were shaped by erosion over millions of years. Many disappear into clouds, creating the illusion of floating mountains. Glass bridges and cliff walkways allow visitors to walk above deep ravines, surrounded by fog and forest. The landscape inspired scenes in science fiction films, yet its beauty is entirely natural. Zhangjiajie feels unreal, like a dream carved in stone. Ubud Bali, heart of Bali. In the center of Bali lies Ubud, surrounded by rice terraces, jungles and sacred temples. Water flows gently through emerald fields shaped by ancient irrigation systems. Palm trees and bamboo forests frame quiet villages. Yoga centers, art studios, and traditional ceremonies give Ubud a peaceful rhythm of life. Monkeys roam temple grounds, while incense fills the air. Ubud is not just beautiful to see, it is beautiful to feel. Lauterbrunnen Valley, Valley of Waterfalls. Hidden in the Swiss Alps, Lauterbrunnen Valley is surrounded by towering cliffs and fed by more than 70 waterfalls. Water streams down rock walls like silver ribbons. In spring, melting snow turns the valley into a symphony of flowing water. Traditional wooden houses sit peacefully beneath alpine peaks. Cowbells echo softly across green meadows. Clouds drift low through the valley, creating constantly changing light. Lauterbrunnen feels like a storybook brought to life. Bay of Kotor, Adriatic Fjord. Along Montenegro's coast lies the Bay of Kotor, a winding inlet surrounded by steep mountains and medieval towns. Stone walls climb hillsides toward ancient fortresses. Red-roofed buildings reflect in calm blue water. Ships glide slowly through narrow passages, framed by dramatic cliffs. At sunset, mountains glow orange and gold, while church bells echo through narrow streets. Kotor combines natural beauty with centuries of history in perfect harmony. Deadvley Desert of Time. Deep in Namibia's desert lies Deadvley, a white clay pan filled with ancient blackened trees frozen in time. Surrounded by towering red sand dunes, this landscape looks like a painting created by nature. The trees died hundreds of years ago when rivers changed course, yet dry air preserved them perfectly. Under intense sunlight, colors become extreme. Blue sky, red sand, white ground, black trees. Deadvley is silent, still, and unforgettable. Sagarmatha National Park, home of the highest peak. In northeastern Nepal lies Sagarmatha National Park, a land of towering mountains, deep valleys, and ancient glaciers. This protected region surrounds Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth. Snow-covered peaks rise above clouds, while prayer flags flutter in thin mountain air. Sherpa villages cling to steep slopes, preserving centuries-old traditions. Glaciers crack and shift slowly through valleys. Rivers flow from melting ice, shaping the land below. Trekkers from around the world journey here, following narrow trails past monasteries and high-altitude lakes. Sagarmatha is more than a mountain park. It is a place where nature, culture, and spiritual strength meet at the roof of the world. Mount Roraima, the Lost World Mountain. Rising abruptly from South America's rainforest, Mount Roraima looks like a massive stone table floating above the jungle. Its flat summit is surrounded by vertical cliffs hundreds of meters high, isolating it from the world below. Clouds wrap around its edges, hiding it for days at a time. On top lies a strange ecosystem filled with rare plants, crystal-clear pools, and unusual rock formations. Rain falls almost constantly, creating small waterfalls that spill over the plateau. Mount Roraima feels ancient and mysterious, like a forgotten world preserved by time. Avenue of the Baobabs, giants of Madagascar. Near the western coast of Madagascar stands a natural monument known as the Avenue of the Baobabs. Massive baobab trees line a dirt road, some more than 800 years old. Their thick trunks store water, allowing them to survive harsh droughts. At sunset, the trees glow golden against fiery skies, creating one of Africa's most iconic scenes. Local communities consider these trees sacred, symbols of strength and survival. The avenue is a reminder that beauty can grow slowly over centuries, rooted deeply in the land. Neuschwanstein Castle, fairy tale in the Alps. Hidden in Bavaria's mountains, Neuschwanstein Castle rises like a dream from forested hills. Built in the 19th century, it was inspired by medieval legends and romantic ideals. Its white towers and blue rooftops appear almost unreal against alpine scenery. Lakes, valleys, and snow-capped peaks surround the castle, creating a perfect backdrop. Mist often drifts through nearby forests, adding to the magical atmosphere. Neuschwanstein inspired countless stories and films, proving that imagination and landscape can blend into living art. Horseshoe Bend, River of Stone. In northern Arizona, the Colorado River makes a dramatic curve around towering sandstone cliffs, forming Horseshoe Bend. From above, the river appears like a green ribbon wrapped around red rock walls nearly 300 meters high. Over millions of years, flowing water carved this perfect curve into solid stone. At sunrise and sunset, the canyon glows in deep orange and crimson tones. Standing at the edge reveals both beauty and scale, showing how patience and time can sculpt masterpieces. Namaqualand, desert in bloom. For most of the year, Namaqualand in South Africa appears dry and empty, but after rare winter rains, the desert transforms. Millions of wildflowers suddenly bloom, covering hills and plains in bright yellow, orange, purple, and white. This explosion of color lasts only a few weeks, making it one of nature's rarest spectacles. Bees, butterflies, and birds return in huge numbers, bringing life back to the land. Namaqualand shows that even the harshest landscapes can hide extraordinary beauty. Komodo National Park, Land of Dragons. Scattered across eastern Indonesia, Komodo National Park is one of the few places on Earth where ancient creatures still rule the land. Here, the legendary Komodo dragons move slowly through dry forests and coastal plains, reminding visitors of a prehistoric world. Beyond the dragons, turquoise waters surround coral reefs filled with vibrant marine life. Pink sand beaches glow softly under the sun, created by crushed coral and shells. Rolling hills rise above hidden bays, while traditional fishing villages live in harmony with nature. Komodo is where wild beauty and raw power exist side by side, untouched and unforgettable. Geiranger Fjord, Norway's liquid mountains. Deep in western Norway lies Geiranger Fjord, a narrow waterway surrounded by towering cliffs and snow-capped peaks. Waterfalls spill down rock walls like silver threads, including the famous Seven Sisters. Mist rises from cold waters, blending sky and mountain into one scene. Small farms cling to impossible slopes, showing how people adapted to this dramatic terrain. Cruise ships glide quietly through the fjord, dwarfed by massive walls of stone. Geiranger Fjord feels like a painting brought to life, shaped by glaciers and time. Iguazu Falls, River of Thunder. On the border of Argentina and Brazil, Iguazu Falls stretches across nearly 3 kilometers of rainforest, forming one of the largest waterfall systems on Earth. Hundreds of cascades crash into a deep gorge, sending mist high into the air. Rainbows often appear in the spray. The most powerful section, Devil's Throat, roars with unstoppable force, shaking the ground beneath visitors' feet. Surrounding jungle echoes with bird calls and flowing water. Iguazu is not just seen, it is felt, heard, and remembered forever. Socotra, the alien island. Isolated in the Arabian Sea, Socotra Island looks like a world from another planet. Nearly a third of its plants exist nowhere else on Earth. The famous dragon blood trees spread their umbrella-shaped crowns across rocky plateaus. White beaches meet turquoise waters, while caves and limestone cliffs hide ancient secrets. Harsh winds and dry conditions shaped this ecosystem over millions of years. Nomadic communities still live traditional lifestyles, preserving deep connections to nature. Socotra feels like Earth's forgotten chapter, untouched and mysterious. Banff National Park, heart of the Rockies. In Canada's Rocky Mountains, Banff National Park combines turquoise lakes, towering peaks, and endless forests. Lake Louise and Moraine Lake reflect glaciers like mirrors. Pine-covered slopes rise towards snow-covered summits. Wildlife moves freely through valleys, including elk, bears, and wolves. Hot springs bubble beneath cold mountain air, creating natural spas. Banff shows how wilderness and accessibility can exist in perfect balance. Petra, city carved in stone. Hidden within Jordan's desert canyons lies Petra, an ancient city carved directly into rose-colored cliffs. Approaching through a narrow gorge, visitors suddenly see the treasury glowing in sunlight. Temples, tombs, and theaters spread across mountainsides, built by the Nabatean civilization over 2,000 years ago. At dusk, candles light stone pathways, creating a magical atmosphere. Petra is where human imagination met geological wonder. Cinque Terre, colors above the sea. Along Italy's Ligurian coast, 5 colourful villages cling to steep cliffs overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. Houses stack like building blocks in shades of red, yellow, and pink. Narrow paths connect vineyards and seaside harbours. Fishing boats float gently in turquoise water, while trains tunnel through mountains. Sunsets turn the coastline golden, reflecting off pastel walls. Cinque Terre is where culture, ocean, and landscape merge into living art. Ngorongoro Crater, Eden in a crater. In northern Tanzania lies Ngorongoro Crater, the world's largest intact volcanic caldera and one of Africa's greatest wildlife sanctuaries. Inside its walls stretches a natural ecosystem filled with grasslands, lakes, and forests. Lions, elephants, rhinos, zebras, and flamingos live together in this enclosed paradise. Rivers and wetlands provide constant water, allowing life to flourish year-round. Ngorongoro feels like Earth's original garden, where nature exists in perfect balance.